CDC released new guidelines yesterday for those who are fully vaccinated, offering hope that life could soon return to normal.
We've been through a lot this past year, and with more and more people getting vaccinated each day, we are starting to turn a corner. Fully vaccinated people can visit with other fully vaccinated people indoors without wearing a mask or physical distancing. Visit with unvaccinated people from a single household who are at low risk of severe COVID-19 disease indoors without wearing masks or physical distancing. And refrain from quarantine and testing following a known COVID-19 exposure if the vaccinated person remains asymptomatic.
The CDC still recommends that fully vaccinated people wear well-fitted masks, avoid large gatherings, and physically distance themselves from others when out in public. And vaccination does not mean people can move freely around the country. The CDC said people should continue to follow their local health department's travel recommendations. Among those critical of the CDC announcement is emergency physician and public health professor Dr. Leana Wen, who told the AP, quote, "The CDC is missing a major opportunity to tie vaccination status with reopening guidance. By coming out with such limited guidance, they are missing the window to influence state and national policy." Willie?
Let's dig into this with our friend Dr. Vin Gupta. He's a pulmonologist and NBC News medical contributor. Dr. Gupta, it's great to see you. I don't think families have ever been so emotional about a PowerPoint slide as they were when they saw this one from the CDC yesterday that showed the two green grandparents, theoretically, if you want it to be a grandparent, and the child and a grandchild.
So cute.
And saying, you know what, if you are vaccinated, you can go see your family, you don't have to be masked, and after a year apart, you can hug your children and you can hug your grandchildren in most cases, unless they're high risk. So as you heard these guidelines, Dr. Gupta, what do they mean and what do they not mean?
Good morning, Willie. Good to see you. You know, what they mean is that vaccination will keep you out of intensive care. I think we actually have a slide showing what that means, what the purpose of vaccination means, a set of CT scans if your team has it on deck here. And really, and you're showing it right now, this is the point of vaccination, Willie. If you're say a grandma or a granddad, you want to see your grandchildren and they're nearby, you can go, because you know what? Those vaccines are going to keep you out of intensive care, keep you from developing lungs that are seen on the right. That's key. And let me just put a quick word in here. That applies to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I keep hearing across the country, is that inferior? Is that, well, I want the Pfizer vaccine? No, all these vaccines are going to keep you out of intensive care. So that's what the CDC is getting at here, that these vaccines now are going to protect individuals. So we need to balance the head and the heart here. We need to get grandparents to see their grandkids, and that's okay. What it's also acknowledging, Willie, is that we don't yet know with certainty whether these vaccines actually stop transmission of the virus. So it's weird. How can you be kept out of the intensive care, but, oh, well, you could potentially still be a carrier? That's what we're still trying to figure out. So that's why it's guarded. And to push back a bit on Dr. Wen, I see where she's coming from. But let's remember here, we had 12,000 deaths just in the last week from COVID-19. It is still, Willie, the leading cause of death in this country week over week. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, 70,000 cases. We're predicting about 65,000 more deaths by July 1st. It could be over 130,000. At least IHME is predicting it, if more governors follow the lead of Governor Abbott in Texas. So this is still a very precarious situation, which is why you're seeing a phased set of guidance. There's going to be a version 2 before long, where I'm sure travel is going to be offered or recommended for individuals who are vaccinated once there's more vaccine. But so there will be a version 2 of this guidance. It will be continuing to be readapted, but let's be patient here.
And Dr. Gupta, let's be clear about what the CDC said yesterday for people who have been vaccinated, gathering with other people who have been vaccinated. They said you can get together, including indoors, without masks on. What are the limits on that for people who say, okay, great, I can go see my friends, or I can travel to see my friends in Florida because they've been vaccinated as well? What did that guidance mean to you?
That guidance means to me that if you want to congregate with other individuals that are close by, another household indoors, one additional household indoors, you can do so unmasked, not distanced. But that when you leave that setting, you need to still be very vigilant. Mask, distance in public, because again, of the transmission question, we don't know if vaccines will necessarily stop you from transmitting this virus. It also made it clear that you do this with those that are nearby, that you don't hop on a flight to go see friends who might be vaccinated hundreds of miles away from you. So that's a key piece here. Again, for everybody out there who's saying, well, that doesn't make sense, there will be a version 2 shortly, I imagine, that will allow for travel, allow for more normalization. It's coming, just not quite yet.
All right, Dr. Vin Gupta, who's been treating COVID patients since the very beginning of all this. Great to see you, as always. Joe, as I said, when that announcement was made yesterday, there were cheers going up from grandparents across America saying, I can hug my children, I can hug my grandparents again. As Dr. Gupta says, as long as they're close by, they don't want people traveling all over the place to do that.
Well, you know, I mean, some are saying the guidelines go too far. Others are saying the guidelines don't go far enough. But if you're getting a vaccination, if you're vaccinated and you haven't seen your family in some time, I think it's pretty certain people are going to be getting on planes and they're going to go see their family members. I actually understand what Lena Wynn's saying. We have to do everything we can do to encourage people to get vaccines. And if you're telling people if you get this vaccine, you're going to be fine, and then say, well, you get this vaccine, you're going to be fine, and you go visit your grandparents as long as they live next door to you, right. You know, people go, wait, what?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank all of you out there.
Thank you as always.
Thanks to at home.
Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for letting us into your homes during these extraordinary times.